Good morning and welcome to Rising. Thanks for tuning in after the Thanksgiving holiday. Hope it was a good one. We have to skip the idle chatter, though, because we've got some big news to get to today. I'm joined by Stephen Alacara. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Wish we could talk about that, but we got to go straight to the news. What's on your radar?
Indeed. Well, here we go. President Joe Biden has issued a blanket pardon to his son Hunter Biden for all offenses he has committed or may have committed since January 1st, 2014. That is, Hunter Biden is off the hook for any alleged criminal activities over the course of the last decade. Now, let us be very, very clear about what has just transpired. First and foremost, President Joe Biden has broken a promise, one he made unequivocally, that he would not pardon his son. When he ran for re-election, Biden told the public, in no uncertain terms, that this course of action, this exact thing, was off the table. Biden previously said, unambiguously, I will accept the outcome of this case and will continue to respect the judicial process. As White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre put it, Biden was very clear, very upfront, obviously very definitive. Let's watch.
I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well,
I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, so much for that. Now, as with Joe Biden's obvious mental decline, KJP was apparently asked to defend the indefensible, to defend a lie. With a stroke of a pen, Joe Biden has made the sweeping decision to shield his son from the law, from public order, and from justice. Now, it's worth digging into the details here. The blanket pardon covers the legal jeopardy Hunter Biden already finds himself in, as well as potential corruption issues for which he has not yet been charged or even fully investigated. Earlier this year, a Delaware jury convicted Hunter Biden of 3 felony counts of improperly purchasing a firearm while addicted to drugs. Now, he could have faced up to 25 years in prison for that, but was expected to serve just 16 months or less, maybe no jail time. Now, the honest truth, you're going to get it from me, the honest truth is that the prosecution of Hunter Biden for lying on a firearms possession form was always a sideshow. I support the Second Amendment. I support decriminalizing drugs. Drug addiction should be a medical issue, not a crime. Showing Hunter Biden leniency in that case would not have been altogether improper. But Hunter Biden was also convicted of tax fraud, and on that issue, he is not a sympathetic figure. Wealthy, well-connected political figures should not be protected from the IRS to a greater degree than ordinary people. Cheat on your taxes, and the federal government descends upon you to make your life a living hell. It is not wrong to show the scions of important politicians even more scrutiny than average citizens. Okay, but the biggest issue, much bigger than tax fraud or improperly filling out a gun form, is the one for which Hunter Biden was never charged: influence peddling. For years, during Biden's vice presidency and afterward, Hunter sold his access to his father, and he sold it to foreign interests in China and Europe. So much of what the mainstream media assured the people about Hunter Biden's foreign dealings turned out to be a lie. In fact, Hunter Biden arranged for Dad to call into business dinners to meet with business associates. That's not all. Hunter Biden also sought to leverage his influence with his father to benefit foreign business interests. Here are the highlights from a report from just 3 months ago.
Report related to Hunter Biden. Newly released records show that Hunter sought State Department help while his dad was vice president. New York Times reports that Hunter, acting on behalf of a Ukrainian energy company, Burisma, you probably know it by now, requested help from the U.S. Embassy in Rome, in Italy, for a potentially lucrative business deal. Now, Hunter wrote at least one letter to the U.S. ambassador to Italy in 2016 seeking assistance for Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company where Hunter sat on the board. Now, the officials seemed uneasy with Hunter's request and wrote back, quote, "This is a Ukrainian company, and purely to protect ourselves, USG should not be actively advocating with the government of Italy without the company going through the DOC Advocacy Center."
It's just what we know so far. That was a recent revelation. Imagine if they actually dug into it. Now, was any of this criminal? It doesn't matter, because Joe Biden has taken it off the table entirely. Hunter Biden cannot be investigated and charged for any of it. He has received blanket immunity for anything he might have done wrong since the year 2014. This is a stunning level of protection from the slow grinding wheels of justice. Make no mistake, there is nothing remotely like this so far in all of American history. A president protecting his son, not just from minor legal jeopardy relating to an oversight, as can perhaps be argued in the gun case, but from any legitimate scrutiny over naked and abject corruption. If I sound angry, it's because I am. The president has used his unlimited pardon power to excuse the corrupt and potentially illegal actions of his son is a shocking, deliberate, and damaging blow to the rule of law. If Donald Trump did this, we would have never heard the end of it from the mainstream media. How did the media cover the news of Biden's unwise action? One outlet, Politico, tweeted, "Republicans pounce on Biden pardoning his son, Hunter." Republicans pounce, really. As if that's the real scandal. Not that Biden did this, but that his political opponents dared to point it out. This tweet formulation, of course, follows a well-worn formula that any time a Democrat does something wrong, that wrongful action is not the story. The Republican counter-reaction, or according to the media, overreaction, that's the story. Enough of this. Biden broke a campaign promise, betrayed his legacy, betrayed the principles of law and order and justice for all, for the lowly and the mighty alike, and he did it all while every mainstream media institution in the country insisted that Donald Trump was a unique and unparalleled threat to American democracy. Well, the president has just issued perhaps the most disreputable pardon in this country's history. That president is not Donald Trump. That president is Joe Biden.
All great points, Robby. This is bad. It's bad precedent. It's bad politics. And the only person who had been talking about potentially pardoning Hunter Biden was Donald Trump. What's interesting here is that Biden is essentially adopting the Trump point of view that the justice system is politicized and that it's weaponized. And now look, do I think that people deserve a second chance and redemption is important? Yes. Do I think that the justice system potentially is weaponized, as both Trump and Biden have talked about? Very possible. But the problem here is that this pardon is being selectively used on the president's son after Biden said over and over again that he wouldn't do it. And if you think about one of the core premises of why Biden was elected in the first place, it was to move us back to normalcy. It was to restore trust in our institutions. And in 2020, it was to defeat MAGAism. Now, if you look at where we are today, he's failed on those counts. Trust in institutions remain at an all-time low. And I think decisions like this only feed the cynicism and strengthen Trump. And I think for the Democrats who are going to follow Biden, the future Democratic leaders, they're going to have to dig out of a pretty steep hole.
For Biden to point out that the system can be politicized and weaponized against people like Joe Biden is a fine and valid thing to say. I've been saying that not just on Trump's behalf, but on behalf of other political figures for a long time. And I want to be really clear here that I understand the argument that the gun issue was over-interpreting a statute that I myself am not sure passes constitutional muster, because I support and agree with gun rights, and that was being blown out of proportion. And if that was it, I'm not sure I would give this a second glance. But this is blanket immunity. The same, I should say, kind of immunity that they wanted to give Hunter Biden when he made the plea deal. And the judge looked at it and you're saying, wait, this covers everything. This stops a future investigator just saying there might be something to look into with the influence peddling. That is what Americans, Trump supporters, conservatives are outraged about. Not that he improperly filled out a form related to a gun. I mean, drug-addicted people should not have dangerous weapons, fine, so I won't say it's totally baseless, but it was a minor issue. What matters to people is whether Hunter Biden got away with leveraging his connection to his dad to foreign interests. Trump was impeached over Ukraine-related Biden diplomacy that maybe Hunter was benefiting from. We don't properly know. I mean, there's nothing to charge him with yet. But to take that off the table, that's what Joe Biden just did, and that's what's so scandalous.
And I'm glad you're pointing to this issue, because there's a reason why this blanket pardon goes back to 2014, one of the reasons it's likely that's when he joined the Burisma board.
Yes.
And I truly think that, yes, we're talking about the tax issues, we're talking about the gun issue, which I agree with you is probably overblown in context, but this influence peddling is part of the issue that's eroding and just eating away at the trust of our government right now. Part of the takeaway from this past election is that I think voters generally feel like the elites have gotten too powerful and that they've gotten away with too much. And then you see a pardon like this, it just further reinforces that narrative. And now it's very possible we may never know what Hunter Biden was doing specifically about influence peddling, except for what he's already said publicly, which is he would not have gotten some of those positions, some of those very lucrative board seats if his last name was not Biden.
I think it's clear the politics of this are very bad for Joe Biden and the Democrats. It seems, very hypocritical. It's being done. There's no Biden's party has lost his reelection. Democrats are going to be out of power. There is not an immediate political cost to pay. They've already lost. The battle is over. They lost. So the thinking must be, might as well do this now. Last chance to do so before he leaves office, and it's not going to. There's no immediate political cost to pay because they've already paid the political cost of their bad decisions. Nevertheless, I think just tactically, strategically, it is wise for Democrats, up and down media figures to just condemn this as opportunistic and hypocritical. Some are doing so. I saw Colorado Governor Jared Polis, who's a Democrat I like, did that. Others, like Eric Holder, crawling out of the woodwork to say, oh no, this is all fine and dandy. It's incredible.
Yeah, well, Governor Polis is positioning himself in an interesting way to be more independent-minded here.
Yes.
And he said, I think, what's on the minds of a lot of people. As a father, you might be able to sympathize with the father-son relationship here, but you can't put your family ahead of the party. I mean, how many times did we hear in the campaign, country above party, and that Democrats were criticizing Trump for only wanting to serve himself? This is obviously a pretty self-serving decision. And 2 points on the timing, as you were referencing. One is that Hunter Biden's sentencing hearing was going to happen this Wednesday for one of the cases. And the second is Biden could not have done this pardon during the campaign. That would have created even more problems for them. And I do think that the result of this election plays a role too. I think that Biden does not want to play any games or take any risks with a Trump Justice Department in the future. So hypocrisy just all around here.
And some people will be wondering if it's just about protecting Hunter. Is it actually about protecting himself as well? We've got lots more to talk about on Rising today. We're not done talking about the Hunter Biden pardon. In fact, we have Michael LaRosa, former press secretary to Jill Biden, going to be on the show to discuss, and we'll look at reactions from across the political spectrum coming up in a bit. That does it for us today on Rising. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any of our content. And for those who like to listen while on the go, we are available anywhere you can get your podcast fix. See you later.